The other day we did a experiment with your internet media with Chambra and others from around the world. It was an experiment I wanted to do before we actually did it here in this shoud. It was about the mind, and one of the things that every one of you is experiencing right now, in a very beautiful but sometimes confusing way, is going beyond your mind. Now, that's a difficult thing. As I said in our discussion on this radio internet program, the mind is highly programmed. Mind is highly susceptible to programming, first of all. And it is highly programmed over many, many lifetimes of programming, indoctrination, constant set of information and regulations and rules going into the mind. The mind has been tied into mass consciousness. Mass consciousness, for the most part, does nothing but to govern and to rule and to manage and manipulate mind activities of humans. Mass consciousness. Now you think of mass consciousness as perhaps something grander. The way mass consciousness works right now, it has its tentacles into every human on Earth, interconnected with every other human. It is now actually being infiltrated by ETs and angels. And so the control, the manipulation is at a very intense form. People are, well, they're hypnotized, absolutely hypnotized. And every one of you knows it and feels it. There's part of you that for years has been rebelling against it. Ever since you came here to Earth in this lifetime, been a significant part of you that's been rebelling against this. It has gone on for many, many lifetimes, but years ago, Tobias talked about releasing mass consciousness. So you set into motion the mechanics to start doing that. You reach a certain point, though, and it has to be more, not quite the right word, but aggressive, more determined, more choice to get out of that mass consciousness and to get out of your own mind lock, I gave the example the other night. It is a catch-22. And here's the example, if you're not familiar with a catch-22. And the example I used the other night, you work in a building. Let's say it's a 20-story tall building, highly secure, very, very few windows. Everything in the building is controlled, from the airflow to the energy flow to the water, to who has access in and out of the building. Interesting. Shambhar eats very interesting things. Not a judgment, just a observation.
What did you just eat?
Junk. Washing it down with cold putrid liquid. I can't wait to come back to Earth someday. So, you work in this highly secure building. It's very, very highly monitored, everything about it. And you want to get out of the building. You want to leave the building because who wants to stay in a building 24/7? You want to get out and at least go for a walk in the park and see what's happening around, because you also know that all the information that you get inside this building that's fed to you, information you have access to through your internet and other media, is highly controlled, highly regulated. Part of you really wants to get out, really wants to leave the building. So you start asking around to the others, how do you get out? They say, oh, that's easy, kinda. You have to go across the street to the other building to get a pass to be able to get out of this building. Laughter should erupt at this moment. That
Want some more
is
junk food or swill?
the spiritual catch-22, the mental spiritual catch-22. You're trying to work your way out of this limitation. It's all centered in the mind. You're trying to get out of it. You know that there's something else out there. You know that there are other dimensions right here, all around you. You know it. You want to believe it. You try affirmations, and they don't work worth a damn. Affirmations are mental. Affirmations and all these other things. I talked the other night about it. I haven't gotten any hate email yet, but all the little ceremonies and all the affirmations and the chanting and all that, that is so damn mental. It's a joke. It's a joke on you. You think that if you align the crystals in a certain way, if you go stand outside when the stars are aligned, whatever it happens to be, it's a big damn joke. There is nothing spiritual about it. It's mental. It's mental pretending it's spiritual, and you've fallen for it. Hell, you created a lot of it. Laughter.
Should we get a sign?
We need a sign.
I'll get a sign.
I would like at least the listeners
Sure.
online to think that.
Yeah, we'll get you a sign.
So here you are. This building is the symbol of your mind. Of your mind. Highly regulated, highly closed in on the inside and the outside. Highly overly managed. Not by some evil forces out there, just by the sequence of events that's taken place on this planet. Nobody's actually controlling this mass consciousness. Only you are controlling your own brain. But you're trying to get out of this mind lock. You're trying to get out of this mind prison by using tools of the mind. And when you talk before about feeling that it's almost there, you talk about being on the brink, that is another mind game. The mind adapts to that quickly and says, let's be on the brink all the time. Whew, mind still in control. The thinking, the just exploring potentials and not bringing them to earth, all mind stuff, all mind stuff. You're trying to get out of your mind or beyond your mind by using tools that the mind itself created. And you can't. These tools are so cleverly created, they're only going to dig you in deeper. They're never going to dig you out. They're only going to dig you in deeper. So when you start overdoing the numerology, what's your sacred numerology? Your sacred numerology is one. You. Just you. That's the only frickin' sacred number there is. I was going to say another word, but no. Caldera doesn't like those. He gets bad email when I say bullshit, other words. So but your mind, it's a joke because now it's got you engaged. It's going through all of what's your sacred numerology, what's your, but your astrology. Astrology has some value. I was a teacher of it in my life as Saint-Germain to a degree. But most of the time, right now, humans are misusing it and abusing it. And it's their mind. Their mind, they think it's a tool to break free, to get out of this mind prison. It's the mind laughing, saying, I'm going to stay with you, baby. You're not getting out. You're going nowhere. And you see, and it doesn't matter what it is. I'm not picking on any one particular thing, but at a certain point, the mind gets in there, grabs it, manipulates it, and uses it to dig in even deeper. Saw the movie? I'm sure many of you have. It's your movie, The Matrix. Matrix. Very, very symbolic of this back and forth, this structure, this delusion. So the question is, at some point, by the way, there's nothing wrong with the mind. It was the way that it's been programmed and manipulated. At its core, there's nothing wrong. It's amazing. It's wonderful. So the question becomes, how do you go beyond? Anybody? Breathe. That's an excellent start. Thank you, Kathleen. You have amazing progress. Amazing. Amazing. We need Miss Amazing for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. We'll get that for you. I just put it on order.
Okay.
Okay. It's being worked on right now. So how do you, let's say you're in the mind. Now, obviously at the same time, you're not all mind because there's part of you, whatever you want to call it, but I call it the I am, the real you. The real you. It knows that this just isn't right. And more than anything else, it's tired of the game. It wants to get out. It wants to break out. It wants to be free. But the mind has been given a lot of domain over you. And again, no blame in this, just telling you the dynamics. So what do you do? Play. Drink. Yes. Sing.
Does Carrie get an award for that?
For which one?
Drink.
Oh, we had several in the room that were drinkers, so yes, an award to all of them.
I don't have that many awards. Come on.
Yes.
What?
Awards to
For God's
yes.
sake. We're going to run out. Okay.
So, all good answers. Listen to the heart. Absolutely. Every one of these, a good answer. I haven't heard a bad one yet, and if I do, I'll come flying over there.
Hey, here's one on a mic.
Yes.
She just handed me the mic. I don't know why.
Yes. To offer your profundity or profanity for this group.
Where am I at now?
No. Stephen, from now on, you sit up in the front. But your mind is just wandering. It's okay. We have medication for that.
What's the question?
The question is, so if a person is in their mind, how do they get out of their mind? Choose. All good.
We got mics here.
Choose
here.
By exhausting the mind.
What? No, it's actually it's a bad answer, and it's a very good answer. It's actually really, really bad advice, but guess what? That's what you do. That's what you do. Don't you do it anymore, though. Give her back the microphone. Don't want you saying anything else on there. You should get an award for that. Yeah.
Oh, award for
Yeah.
having a bad answer. I
Well,
like that.
it was
I
a
like that.
bad answer, exhausting the mind. But actually, it was really very real. So what does human do when they want to transcend just the limitations of human experience? They exhaust. No, what do they really do? That's a nice answer, but what do they? No. I'm giving the
Scott
answer
got-
now. I'm giving the answer.
Oh, do
Yeah,
I have to give you
yeah.
award too?
No. I am my own award. and every one of you should be as well. So, no, this is really good. This is really good because typically what happens is when you get into this dynamic of whatever you want to call it, but awakening, you know it's time to break free. The mind has become the limitation. And you can't get mad at the mind, but it's the limitation. It's the one that creates a very limited artificial reality. The I am, the heart, or whatever you want to call it, knows that there's something else out there. And now it's going into this type of conflict with, we're going to stay with us?
It's really nice out there.
We're going to go into this conflict, and now you've got this constant battle back and forth. It's tremendously energy consuming. But what often happens, and in the example I give, for instance, of Buddha, of Siddhartha, was that he felt that deny the mind, deny the body, and the spirit will come forward. Bad advice, really bad advice. Why would the spirit want to come forward or your divine come in if you're suffering, if your body is hurting, if you're wearing out. You almost have smoke coming out of your ears sometimes because you think a lot. But you're trying to burn the gears. Do you think that burning the gears, do you think that destroying the body will suddenly give you a new body? Hell no. It'll give you death. Well, that eventually will give you a new body, but not really. It's kind of the same old body, just reborn again. And you're going to have the same issues, the same mental issues. So that's actually what's happening, is burnout. Thinking that this is the way to basically annihilate the mind. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. The mind is not your enemy. It's really not. It's a beautiful device, not your enemy. No, all we have to do, and I'd like to do it right now, but this time we don't have to shut down the internet like we did the other night. We don't have to cause any electronic outages because we're going to do this very smoothly. It's so simple. I want to cry and laugh at the same time. It's so simple that I'll make you this bet. Your mind is going to jump in and say, I don't think so. He's making it. Not for me. For me, it's got to be more difficult. For me, it's got to be more. I've studied spirituality for 18 lifetimes, and therefore I really need a more complex answer, because it's going to possibly blow away a lot of all that hard work, a lot of that suffering, a lot of that searching that you've done. It's really simple. You ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's absolute acceptance. It's all absolute acceptance. Don't think about it. Hey, you're scrambling to say, well, hang on, well, how would that work? Adamus, can you diagram that? Can you do a flow chart here that shows, if we do absolute acceptance here and then it goes over to here, that's thinking. Absolute acceptance. That is the I am. That is the breath of life. Absolute acceptance of what? Everything. Everything. Don't start laying out a structure and a pattern and, putting this into a 12-step program. It's for you right now. Absolute acceptance. Wow. Wow. Absolute acceptance. That's a easy one, isn't it? Or it's a tough one. Which potential do you want to choose? Easy. You tell me that now, but tomorrow when we wake up, what will it be? You say easy, but sometimes because you don't make a conscious choice, because you say easy, yeah, and then walk away from it, all the old controlling kicks back in, all the old ways kick back in, and then next month you're going to say, it wasn't that easy, it was really tough. I had a lot of storms, went through all this stuff. It can be really easy, just acceptance. What happens in acceptance? The mind, I wanted something to stand on, something really tall and Linda gets, here, this isn't really tall. The mind, the mind has a very difficult time with acceptance. It's not programmed for acceptance. It's programmed for constant analysis, and it's programmed for judgment, and it's programmed for expression of its weird mental ways through drama and emotion. It doesn't really know what to do with acceptance. It really doesn't. So the mind creates this great big question mark when I say acceptance. What's acceptance? Do you really need words for it? Do you really need to figure it out? Do you need to have an acceptance program that you're going to practice over the next 6 months? We could create one. We could charge a lot of money. I would love to have an acceptance workshop. $5 million, guaranteed acceptance. That was kind of funny. No, you don't need all of that. The mind doesn't know how to put its tentacles around acceptance. So what happens, it bypasses. The mind just does a duh for a moment, just, huh? And it bypasses. It goes straight to the heart, straight to the I am, straight to the you. Absolute acceptance. You just got out of your mind. And you know who's really rejoicing the moment you do this? Your mind. Thank you. An award to David. Thank you. We're going to run you out of awards today. And we'll get some nice, real gold ones.
Yeah, wow, sure.
So, yes, the mind is rejoicing. It really is. It needed and wanted you to make that choice and to go beyond. And now, just that one little grain of going beyond the mind, that one little tiny example of it now becomes the standard of the mind. That one little grain. Let's just do it together. Ander, would you come up here and do some breathing acceptance, a minute or two? Let's do it together.
Okay. Get ready. Will you receive? Will you accept? Come on. Settle in your body. Be here. I invite you now. Breathe so deeply. Will you receive this? Will you accept all of this that He is offering you? Breathe. Breathe just for you. Breathe deeply, deeply. Receive. Receive and dare to accept this breath, this exquisite breath. Feel this as it flows into your body. The body melts, relaxes, receives. Accept this breath, this gift. This is an exquisite gift. Breathe. Breathe just for you. Just for you. Breathing deeply. Feel the breath slowing down. Deeper into your belly. Let the shoulders relax. Flow down, down into the core of you, where the brilliant you is waiting to receive. Breathe. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply.
Thank you. And dear Shambra, that's a wow moment. Wow. That's all it took was a little acceptance, a little breathing it in, and you have, every one of you has created just this little example, this little kernel or little grain of going beyond the mind. It doesn't have to blow your socks off. It doesn't have to shut down the power or kick us off the internet or anything like that. This one tiny little example of going beyond the mind, of being in the total body of consciousness, your total body of consciousness, provides the template or the standard now, and your mind goes, finally. You've freed yourself, you've freed your mind of its rigid hold. Now you don't have to do anything, really. Except a few things that we'll talk about in a moment. But you don't have to manipulate anything. You don't have to do anything. It's just, wow, now it's going to happen. And that's the amazing thing. And if you can accept that, and accept that the process is already now in place, we just did a little simple breathing, the process is now working, and you're going to go beyond the mind. And you don't have to work at it. And it's not going to be suffering. You're not going to have to burn out your brain. Yes, things in your life will change, but rejoice in them. Accept them. It's amazing. And you're going to need it for where we're going.